right?
Yep.
And resto modding classics, which you can do anything you want to because you own it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we pissed off a bunch of EV guys here just a minute ago.
Sorry.
You know what I want to do now? I'm gonna piss off a bunch of ICE guys now.
Oh, Chris.
Kenny doesn't know about this. This is going to be hilarious. Right. What about putting an electric engine in a current classic car? Let's gamble.
But
what's a future classic?
Oh, Chris.
What if we had?
That's a new episode.
Right into that.
That's going to be a future episode right there.
Oh,
we gotta do our homework for that.
Well, no.
Well, just off the top of your head right now, if you were to think something, not like in the 90s, but in the 2000s, to current day, what do you think would be a future? Now,
I'm not going to go Corvette. I'm not going to talk about the
those are always going to be
stuff and all the Demon and all that stuff because we already know all that's great. I love some of what the tuners are there, and Subaru is throwing out some all-wheel drive cool technology, and I think people, if they'll buy some of this, they'll put them away. I think that they're going to be wanted down the road.
No wonder. You know, because EVs and hybrids are everywhere now.
Yeah.
Batteries are going to go bad.
Yeah.
There's always going to be people that want, ICE engines, internal combustion engines, right?
Wait a minute. I see where you're going.
Are they going to take batteries out and put
internal combustion engine into a Tesla?
Yeah. I've seen it on YouTube.
Yeah,
we've seen it on YouTube, but as more of a gag. But going forward, if you see this, because there are going to be old Teslas here soon. I mean, there's already some old Teslas, right? And it doesn't have to be just Tesla. It could be, any EV. Do you think there's crazy people out there just going to stick a gas engine in it?
Pull up in a Tesla rolling coal as you drive by the...
that'd be hilarious.
Right. Tiana and I talked to a guy and his son who were up in Chattanooga at the Motor Car Festival 2 years ago. And this guy pulled up in a very cool old Tesla. It was a 2-door sport model. Hadn't seen one. He said, yeah, they're very rarely produced. They only had one motor. And the problem was that when that motor failed, they didn't have any more parts because it was made just for this car. And what was failing on them was the motor. So that car became junk. And light bulb, I bet I looked like Wile E. Coyote chasing the rabbit, man. It went off so big because I'm like, you're not just let this car just sit there in the backyard. You can put an ice in there, right? I mean, you got to, and it was just great talking to him about it. But he was a diehard. He believed in this car and maybe getting parts and seeing what they could do to remake. But they were already out of the parts for it. They weren't doing it. This is a couple years ago now, where we were just talking earlier, Chris, about Tesla. You don't just have to take the dealership. I do know that AutoZone sells brake pads for Teslas. I don't know what else anybody does sell.
Yep, I know Tesla's kind of opened the books there a little bit for other shops to start working on them.
So how about this for a new classic? Is an electric car going to be a classic car later? Are people going to take the batteries out and just tend them on ice in a fireproof room?
I think, honestly...
And let the car sit there for 20 years and it'll become something because...
I believe... well, I don't know about that. But I do believe that there will be factions of electric cars that will become classics. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The Cybertruck, as divisive as that thing is, I think it's a future DeLorean. If I had the money just to hang out and just as a third car, fourth car, I would buy a Cybertruck, even though, I think they're a waste of money at the moment. $100,000, and they don't even have cruise control, which is insane.
Well, we did learn that there are some resale books out there online that help you navigate towards a used EV that is affordable, under $10,000.
Yep. But yes, I do believe, back on topic, I think there will be certain EVs in the future that'll be classics. I don't think you'll see Model 3s and stuff like that that are classics. I don't think Rivians will be a classic. But, I could be wrong. I mean, who thought a C10 back in the 80s would have been a classic truck either? Now look at them. So,
man, they are. And I love that, because car design got away from us for so many decades. Back in the 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s, man, they were making cars, not in the 20s. They weren't thinking design. And even maybe the 30s is where they started getting into cool ass stuff. But when the 40s carried through the 50s, the big old bumpers and chrome, and man, the bigger the car, the better the car. And then you got the Sherman tanks out there. And then something came along in the 60s and they just said, man, let's start doing this. And now companies are saying, just like bell-bottom pants and everything else, it's just coming back around. But it's beautiful to see these old smooth body designs that we grew up with and we loved, that our kids loved. My kids still love perfect hair bands and stuff from the 80s, and they love the old Monties and Chevelles and stuff of what and all that. My sister's born in 65. She wants a 65 Mustang. That's her little dream car. I could see her with the powder blue and the convertible top and all that stuff. But I love this new technology, and that's what makes a resto mod. So we put all this new technology in them old bodies. Now dealerships are catching on, manufacturers are catching on. They're saying, hey, look, why are we selling a new car that people are putting all this into, whatever, and they're making a resto mod out of it? Let's start making our own resto mods, but they're not. They're factory OEM products. But 1,000 horsepower, Bryce. What's that Ford that you talked about? The 3 that's going to be a Mustang. That's
the GT3. What's the horse?
I thought I heard 1,028 or something.
It's probably something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a bona fide race car that you can drive around and pick up McDonald's in if you want to.
You know, we pissed off a bunch of EV guys here just a minute ago.
Sorry.
You know what I want to do now? I'm going to piss off a bunch of ICE guys now.
Oh, Chris.
Kenny doesn't know about this. This is going to be hilarious.
All right,
Stirring the pot.
We're talking about classics, right?
Yep.
And resto modding classics, which you can do anything you want to because you own it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We talked about, will an EV be a future classic? I think it will. I think people might put gas engines. I know a few people have done it here and there, but as a legitimate form of transportation, I think there are going to be people who put a gas engine in an electric car.
Like buying old abandoned electric cars.
Yep,
and they start buying engine components and doing it.
What about vice versa? What about putting an electric engine in a current classic car?
I think if you
look at that.
Can you freely buy all the... Okay, so we've seen people that do this. There's a guy in Texas that has a Mustang that was on Martin Brothers.
You can buy the kits for these.
Wow.
Absolutely. And so they're taking these classics, little 57 Bel Air. They're putting an EV in it. I know somebody's head is exploding right now at that image.
57 Chevy right there in my parking lot. Wow.
Yep.
And now that car's got 4 doors. It deserves an electric motor. But and here we go with the Challengers and the Chargers. And Chargers are high performance cars, and people are going to collect the 4-door car. Is that a fork sticking off there? It looks like a fork.
It does look. I think they're
brake lines. Yeah,
brake lines.
That's gonna be funny.
It looks like a pitchfork though. Well, you put it in the back. Is this a Carmen Ghia? I can't really tell.
It looks like a Carmen Ghia. Sure does.
Man, you imagine how fast the Carmen Ghia would go with
the weight of that car.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
that would jump.
Yeah, it'll pin you to the back of the seat.
Probably fall apart.
But yeah, I know it's all the Tesla guys. If you stuck around, which I doubt you did, you're clapping right now. You're loving it, and all the ICE guys have probably clicked off, and they're currently writing hateful comments.
Talking about how they're the ones typing right now that we're paid shills from the EV industry.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah. Now we're paid by Tesla and Rivian and everybody else. But and that's kind of the point of this podcast. Really, is we talk about from the sides we love and the sides we don't love, and we just wanted to bring that up. But you see those obviously very popular. They're in car shows. There's kits you can buy. If you have a, Pawpaw's old rusted out, C10 back there, let's throw a EV motor in that thing.
I want to know what the cost of a kit is. If everybody out there's,
I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah, well, I want to.
You guys talk amongst yourself.
No, I'd like to find out because is it economical that they're doing this, but at the same time, are they bringing the money? Is that truck going to Mecum or somewhere, and is it going to sell? And is it going to bring big ass money? Up. Because that's more like a SEMA show kind of bill.
We need to get John on before the end of the year. John Kramer, Mecum is. I bet he knows. Kramer, sorry.
Yep.
I bet he knows if how many of some.
And if he doesn't, then Matt Avery does maybe.
Yeah.
We'll be talking to them in December.
I think Matt Avery's on that beat.
Yeah, well, we certainly can throw that hook out there and see what goes on with it. But I'm just
because if they paid us and we didn't know that, they would fire us right now.
Look,
so
I would like to find out if we can get a hold of somebody that built one of these and talk to them about
the process.
Well, and what is their intention with it? Is this something they're going to keep and enjoy? They did just for them, or are they producing this and there's a sale price? And what are they doing? because that certainly isn't an affordable car. And you've just taken a truck that can go many hundreds of miles and then gas back up in 6 seconds and then go down the road again many hundred miles to having to change and all this stuff and do. And where does he buy the batteries, and are they as efficient? Now, battery technology is taking off, and they are making better batteries that I think you said the
solid state batteries. Solid state batteries are legit. Right now, they're very, very expensive.
Yeah.
I know because, in Florida, we have hurricanes and we lose power. And I have solar battery or solar generators, which are essentially just big, giant battery backups. And the ones I have are solid state because they're just safer and they last longer and all that good stuff. But yeah, they're far better than the lithium, a lot safer than the lithium. You don't have to worry about the combustion and all that stuff. But like I said, right now they're very cost prohibitive, especially in an automotive thing. On Google, real quick, you can buy an EV engine for $5,000. That does not include everything else. That's just the motor itself.
Wow.
So
because
I'm sure you're going to need
$5,000, you're going to get a 350 horsepower
crate engine, right?
Crate engine.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So wow, that's cheap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cheap.
Yeah.
Anybody could, if you're going to do engine swaps, I think it's pretty comparable. But you do got to buy the batteries, and I don't know how much batteries for cars cost. Then I'm sure you got to buy wires and special capacitors
there's a lot
and all this kind of stuff. It's a lot different.
And then you got to know how to work with it.
Yeah, that's
because you're talking about high voltage electric shock.
Well, they have a 48 volt system instead of a 12 volt. They call it a mid volt.
Okay.
System. So it's 48 volts. So you can really, if you mispin that, you're going to have some issues.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, should we go out?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Come back next time.
This is the American Car Classes radio program. If you liked it, tell us.